Hi and welcome. So today I am going to show you how to make a diabetic friendly lip scrub. So I actually got this inspiration from a loved one who is diabetic, and they're just finding it kind of hard to find products that are diabetic friendly, especially on the lips. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to formulate this pretty simple, pretty easy, diabetic friendly lip scrub. Okay, so before we begin, you're going to want to start by using some sort of a heat safe glass container, and you're also going to want to have a scale. Now, this could be a food scale, this could be a lab scale, but you want it to be a scale that does not come in contact with food. And then obviously you're going to want to have gloves, something to keep your hair back, away from your face, also away from what you're making. And then also either a lab jacket like I have, or some type of like an apron. So once you have that, you're going to want to go ahead and get your first ingredient for this formula, and it is going to be diabetic friendly, like a sugar substitute. Now, before I go any further, I want to emphasize that I am not a dietitian. I am not a doctor. I am a clinical aromatherapist, and I am doing this because someone I love, I know their diet pretty well. I know what they can have and what they can't have. And knowing that, I know that, one, they've already used this, so they like it, but that it's good for them. But please, before you give this to somebody or whatnot, check with the doctor first. Just be cautious. But I did want to show you that there is a way to make a diabetic friendly sugar lip scrub from sugar that is it's actually a substitute. Okay, so it doesn't interfere with the raising of the glucose level. So let's go ahead and get started. And the sugar substitute that I am choosing to use is monk fruit, and it is actually the brown sugar monk fruit. Now, I normally don't use monk fruit just because it's so expensive, but since the lips is such a small area, and it's what I had on hand in my lab area, and it also, I liked the color that it added to the product, and I am making such a small amount that I felt that I could use it. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my monk fruit. Now, again, you can use any substitute that you choose to, but this is what I'm choosing to use. So I am going to go ahead and use 39.41 grams of this monk fruit. So what I like about this is it's finely ground. Now, you can opt to put it in like a coffee grinder, which I have done in the past, but for the purpose of this video, I am saving some time and not showing you that. But it very much acts in the same way as your traditional sugar, but again, it doesn't spike the glucose level of the person using it. And as you know, we like to lick our lips, so sometimes you can, get some of this into your body internally, and so we don't want that, especially if you're diabetic. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm almost there. And like I said, it's going to be 39.41 grams of this sugar substitute. And just so you know, you can have somebody that is not diabetic use this. And it's just fine. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. Okay, so once I have added that in, I am going to go ahead and get my next ingredient, which is going to be my oil. Okay, so for my carrier oil, I am going to use almond oil. Now, the reason I chose almond oil is because it's really good for those that cannot have sugar because it helps to stabilize it. So this is the oil that I am choosing for this formula to use. Now again, do your research. If you have somebody who happens to be diabetic and they can't have almond oil because they have an allergy to nuts or whatever, there are definitely some substitutes out there, and it's just so that's it. Okay, so for the oil, I am going to add 15.88 grams of my almond oil. I will actually try to find some substitutions for the almond oil, and I will link it. It'll actually be in my blog, but I'll link it in the description box of this video. And I love using this brown sugar substitute because it actually kind of acts as a colorant in a way. I end up not using any mica for this particular formula, just because it already has a color from the sugar substitute that I'm using. So again, it's going to be 1588. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my scale. And I am just going to go ahead and mix the sugar but not sugar in with my oil. And make sure that it's, I don't know if there's the color. It's kind of like a caramel, light brown, light tan, whatever color that you want to call it. And this is, I've actually used this, and it's quite gentle on the lips, I find it. Okay. So once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and put it back on the scale. And here's where you can either use a flavor oil or essential oil. For diabetics, I tend to use something like an essential oil, simply because I don't have a lot of experience with diabetics with the flavor oil. And there could be some hidden sugars in there, and I don't want to chance it. So for this one, I'm actually going to use peppermint essential oil. And so we're going to go ahead and add the peppermint essential oil into our formula. Now again, adding any flavor oil or essential oil, this is an optional step. The person that I am making this for actually really likes peppermint essential oil. So again, sometimes you just have to know the person, right? And know their situation. So I'm going to go ahead and add in 0.57 grams of peppermint essential oil. Now it's important to note also that you need to, if you're using essential oils, to check the dermal limit. Because you want something that's not going to cause harm or that's going to be, you know, can cause sensitivity and stuff. Okay. So once I have done that, I'm going to turn off my scale again, or zero it out rather. Go ahead and give it another stir to incorporate the essential oil or flavor oil, whatever you chose to use, so that it is incorporated nicely into your formula. Because you don't want parts with some flavor or scent, rather flavor, but and then parts that don't. So you want to make sure that it's throughout. Okay, so now that that is done, the next step is to add vitamin E. Now, again, if you choose not to use vitamin E, that's okay too. I tend to use it just because it has some benefits for the skin, as far as it's very skin friendly, very nourishing for the skin. But if you don't want to use it, or you don't have vitamin E accessible to you, have no fear, you don't need to use it. And you can either play around with the formula, add a little more sugar, add a little bit more oil, really just kind of make it your own. So I'm going to go ahead and add 0.28 grams of vitamin E. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and stir it up. Okay, and now that all the ingredients are stirred, you have your final product. And if you say you don't like the color, you want to add some color, you may, but just make sure that it is lip safe and diabetic friendly. So the way to know that is just by either on the label or going directly to whoever you purchased it from and either checking on their website, calling them. It might require a little work on your side, but it's well worth it. But again, I'm not using anything. Okay, and so how I package this is I will put it in just a small, like, lip safe container with a lid. I did not add a preservative to this, but you know, if you want to, again, do your research. That is key. But since I knew who it was going to, and I knew that they wouldn't be, you know, washing their hands and then sticking it in here right afterwards. So with wet hands, make sure to store it in a dry, cool area, away from heat, light, and also make sure that if you are using essential oil, that you do not package it in a plastic container, simply because the essential oil and plastic do not mix well and it can seep through. So with that being said, there's your finished product. So thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more DIY formulas, don't forget to like and subscribe.